Before we start the video, quick announcement. This month, through Patreon, you can join for just $7 instead of $10 and gain access to my server, which includes notes, weekly lessons, and more. Your support helps fund thumbnails, editing, and other content. Jazakumullah khair. Now, let's get back to the video.
Yo, assalamu alaikum. Sorry, Dean's running a little bit late. He's busy with some other stuff. Hope you guys are all well. Robin stream today. Yeah, exactly. How is everyone? Make sure to like the live. Share it with other people so Christians can come and join. I'll post the link, inshallah. Yeah, give me a sec. I might just put the link in the chat. Just give me a second. All right, the link should be there, inshallah. Dean and Leafy are one. Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's shirk, bro. Be careful. Leafy, were the link profile picture. I love that one. Speak English, brother. I don't understand what you're saying. Alaikum salam. In the beginning was Leafy, and Leafy was with Dean, and Dean and Leafy was Dean. Makes sense. Is it pinned? I thought the star icon is pinned. This is the link. I thought that's pinned. Maybe Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Is that pinned, sister? Oh no. Shirk, yeah. Wa alaikum assalam. It's not pinned in chat, Leafy. Alright, one sec. Let me fix that. Is it pinned now? I can't find your chat. This is the link to my chat. Wa alaikum assalam. No, bro, I don't know how to pin him. Wa alaikum assalam. Just like up the live. Get more people coming. Let me see where Dean. Is the star of the Look, guys, I don't know how to pin it. Inshallah, when Dean comes, he can pin it for you guys. Because I thought I did. I thought it was the star thing, but apparently not. Wait, let me. You did it last time. Pin the link I meant. Yeah, yeah. I know I did it last time, but I don't know how I did it last time. That's the issue. Why is Chris stupid? I mean, that's actually that's a genuine question. Like, I think he is genuinely just that stupid. Like, I don't think I think he's disingenuous, but I also think he's stupid. I think it's both. I try my best, guys. Let me see. You guys can still join, even if it's not pinned, though. I'm pretty sure. Did Testify say anything about the debate? No, not that I know of. He didn't seem too keen on it, to be honest. Like when I was pressing him and I told him, I want to press you on your video about Patricia Crone, he had no idea. He was like, oh, it has mistakes, so what? Like it has blunders, so what? Leafy cooks all these apologists and gets taken down by pinning comments. Bro, I'm sorry. I'm just a guy being a dude, bro. Debunked the inspiring philosophy latest video against Muslim. I don't watch his stuff, bro, to be honest, but I'll take a look at it. If it's giving you shubuhat, Christians come up, bro. How? Okay. Wait. The Royals, is it pinned? It's pinned now. Yo, Dean is in the chat. Salam alaikum. Leafy, I can't join today. Nah, bro. Bro's finished. Yeah, see, Dean can do it, bro. Dean knows everything better than me, bro. Come on. What is the dilemma? Billah alaik, what is the dilemma? Can someone explain? Hey, bro, stop asking too many questions, man. Dean, look in the background. There's in the chat. Let's go. Yeah, I mean, look, if he's trying to say like marrying cousins is weird, I mean, according to him, Adam, like at a certain point, there was incest that was allowed because Adam would have to marry his kids, or Adam's kids would have to marry their kids, and that's how it was. So, I mean, it's like I don't know what he's yapping about. This channel was promised to Leafy 2,000 years ago. That's right, bro. I'm a Jew. Don't skip my compliment. Don't forget I'm a Muslim in it. Sorry, barakallah feek, akhi. I know you're a Muslim. You're a brother now. How do I join the Discord? Yeah, so for $10 a month, he has aid. You can join the Discord by subscribing to Dean's Patreon. You get access to the server, the workshop lessons, the Arabic lessons, and all his notes, which are very, very comprehensive, bro. There's like literally, like they're really, really good. A lot of people that are very smart worked on them, including myself. So definitely worth it for the price that you're getting, man. Yeah, this is my channel in case you guys want to check me out. Christian Prince is low tier. Bro, Libiano cooked him, bro. Bro, Libiano cooked him, Farid cooked him, Muhammad Hijab cooked him, everyone cooked him. Like, Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum assalam. Like, make sure to like up the live, guys. All right. So we can get some Christians. There's one guy in backstage. I'll get him up. Yo.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. How are you, akhi?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good. Is my audio okay?
Yeah, that's fine. I'll just turn you up a little bit.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Yeah. Do you have a question, akhi?
No, I just wanted to, well, first off, I wanted to mention, you and Dean, mashallah, you did really good with the Chris and Testify. I mean, I feel like the debate is usually like, it's not one-sided, but clearly they didn't have much to say.
Yeah.
But just as a side note with Chris, something that I've noticed he does, I feel like you noticed it as well, is he has this tendency to he rubs his face and he does this sort of theatrical thing where it's like oh his head is hurting because the person he's talking to is so stupid, and it's like I feel like these apologists just kind of resort to theatrics when they don't have anything to say, and that's
Yeah.
something I've noticed he does a lot.
Yeah, his head, like him and Testify, his head starts hurting. They start laughing, or for example,
Yeah,
he'll just pretend like he's being rational, or he's like a rational actor, like trying to be
yeah,
smug about it as well. But he's really not. Like I remember during the exchange, when I pressed him on the internal external thing, he was like, "Oh, it can
yeah,
be both. Why can't it be both?" And I'm like, "It's one argument. It's either one or the other. You can't have both an internal standard and an external standard to critique me. It's either one or the other. Either you grant me my paradigm or you don't. Like you can't both grant my paradigm and not grant my paradigm. How does that make any sense? So what he says is that the Islamic dilemma now is not just one argument. Now it's a series of arguments. It's basically just the fact that the Quran is incoherent. Well, that's not what it was before. That's not how David Wood explained it. That's not how you've been formulating it for the past 10 years or 15 years or whatever, how long you've been doing it. So he's basically just shifting like Khan, did you know that Islamic dilemma was more than one argument?
yeah. No, it's
That's
like
laughable,
small.
right?
Yeah, no, legitimate. Like the thing is, look, I'm a layman. Like I'm not I haven't done a ton of research, but even I was like, that doesn't sound right. This sounds like ridiculous.
Yeah. No, that's why I pulled him up on it straight away. And then when he was like, why can't it be both? And I explained to him what each one is. And then he's like to me, yeah, but why can't it be both? I'm like, bro, you're not listening to what I'm saying. Like, do you understand? Either you grant me my paradigm or you don't grant me my paradigm. How can you both grant me my paradigm and not grant me my paradigm? And the reason why we went into that to begin with is because after Dean cooked Chris on the Injil, what the Injil was, he gave him the answer to what he's looking for. Then testifies like, okay, well, why should the Quran even be the criteria to begin with? And then because he realized like, oh, Dean is actually giving a coherent response. And then,
Yeah,
well, the Quran is the criteria because you're assuming my worldview is true and you're trying to derive a contradiction from it. And we're trying to show you that there is no contradiction. That's the whole issue. But then, no. Now they're shifting the goalpost to where, no. That was never the argument. That was part of the argument, but actually, the whole argument was that, like, there's some historical issues in the Quran. Bro, that's a completely separate claim. That's a completely separate claim
yeah,
that I cooked your boy Rob on as well. Rob is much more educated than you, and he tried to give like the best historical errors he could manage, and even he had to concede, like, guys, like, yeah, you're right. Like, it is a weak argument. Like, you saw the clip with the 600,000 in the Exodus, he started coping. But then when he's talking about the Pharaoh drowning, and I tell him, look, like this is speculative. Even if I grant you the conclusion, it doesn't this is not a strong argument. He's like, yeah, you're right. Like, I agree, and he'll still pedal it, even though he just conceded. Yeah, it's a weak argument. Like, bro, if you're honest and you say this is a weak argument, are you going to reuse the same weak argument? Like,
no,
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 you're not.
that's something that I've noticed. Like with these apologists, like I've seen like when somebody proves to them that no, this argument is weak, and they'll even concede that this argument is weak, they just still peddle the same arguments.
Yeah, I mean that's just why like they're dishonest. To be honest, bro, like that's why they're dishonest. Because once an honest man, if you show him that he's wrong, he'll accept that he's wrong. Like if they came to me and they showed me like, hey, you're actually wrong about this, and they gave me evidence, I would be more than happy to retract. Same with Dean. Dean would be more than happy to retract. The issue is they can't do that because they know that they're wrong. So what they have to do is what you saw, which is the theatrics and the laughing and the interrupting us and 2 minutes, even though you guys wanted 1 minute and all this nonsense like that they were saying. And
Yeah,
even then, they were still getting cooked. Even imagine on your own platform, you're still getting cooked. You're interrupting. You can control it. You can waffle and not answer questions, and still each time you get cooked. Bro, they didn't look. They conceded. He was like, "Oh, Matthew 23, yeah, shows I'm a hypocrite, but that doesn't help Islam." No, it does both. Why is it an either or here? It shows you're a
yeah,
hypocrite and it answers your question. It's both two in one, bro. He's just like, no.
yeah.
You're more concerned with proving that I'm a hypocrite. Yeah, I'll say I'm a hypocrite as long as you admit Islam is false. No. Islam is true and you're a hypocrite. Like, you get what I mean, bro?
Yeah, no. The things because yeah, you just mentioned it earlier. Like with this this Islamic dilemma thing, wallahi, it genuinely it gives me a headache when people bring it up now. Like the thing is, like I just how dishonest they're being, how disingenuous they're being, where they present this argument, and it's like okay, whatever, you present the argument, and then they have the argument proven to be weak. And then like the thing is like, and like I'm sure you would agree if they presented the argument and then they had the argument proven to be weak, and they said, you know what? Okay, that's fair enough. That's a weak argument, but I still don't believe in Islam because of XYZ, these other issues.
Yeah,
That
that's
would be more
exactly right.
respect. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I could grant that. Like, if you told me, like, look, yeah, you're right. Like, the Quran is actually coherent on this aspect. The general confirmation makes sense. You can take parts and take other parts, or if they even just said, look, on what criteria are you taking parts and not taking parts? He tried to get into that, but then when Dean answered him, he just never touched it ever again.
Mm. Yeah, and like that's the thing. Like, if they at least retracted and said, like, if they conceded, like, okay, you know what? Yeah, that's a bad argument. Like, I could respect that, even if you don't like accept Islam. Like, okay, if you're like, you know what, fair, that's a bad argument. But it's like it feels like I don't know. Like, to them, it's like conceding this point means that Islam has to be true. It's like, okay, that doesn't necessarily follow. Like, you don't have to hinge everything on this Islamic dilemma argument. Like,
It's
you
because
can,
they know nothing else has worked, bro. Like, imagine if this is the
yeah.
strongest like argument that they're putting all their eggs into. They're trying to promote it as much as they can. They go all the Christian apologists trying to use it. Sam Shamoon, God Logic, Chris, all these guys, and it's so feeble, so weak. It just rests on a misunderstanding of basic terms and just being uncharitable to the text. Then, like, this is the best you have. Like, no
Well,
academic takes this seriously.
that's the thing. It genuine, like, it is actually disingenuous. Like, if you
It
just
literally is, bro.
if anybody looks at this, if anybody reads the Quran, any layman, like whatever, if they read it, they'd be like, okay, I understand it's a general confirmation. But because they're disingenuous, they're going to be like, well, technically, actually, it
Yeah.
doesn't say it's a general confirmation. Like, right, get on my face.
It does. Like, it doesn't need to say that. Does Matthew 23 need to say it's a general confirmation, or do you? But in the comments, they'll say like, "Oh, yeah, we know it's a general confirmation because other verses say that this part of the Torah we shouldn't take, or this teaching specifically we shouldn't take." Right? All right. Well, just have the same level of charitability with the Quran. There are clear verses that literally say your scripture's been corrupted. They distort things with their words. This is why we change clear rulings. Like, for example, turn your back towards the what's it called, the Mosque of Jerusalem, Masjid al-Haram, and pray towards a different direction. It's very clearly abrogating the previous scripture or the previous like instructions. So why can't you just, like, it's the same thing, it's the same level of charitability, but they're just hypocrites. They don't want to grant it.
Yeah, and then like you've also mentioned this as well, but like you mentioned I think it's the term sola scriptura. We don't just accept the Quran. We do accept the Hadith, but I feel like God logic specifically is always asking like, no, don't go to the Hadith. Like, oh, like what does the Quran say and blah blah blah. Like, yeah, but within our paradigm, we don't just look to the Quran. Like the Hadith says, we have companions saying, yeah, the old scripture is corrupted. Like,
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, that by itself also solves the Islamic dilemma. I mean, just the fact that we have hadith that say that it's corrupted is enough, because you're granting me my paradigm, like I said. So they have to be
yeah.
inconsistent now. They have to say, no, actually, we're not. It's not an internal critique anymore. Now it's like an external critique. But see how they shift from one place to another whenever they get cornered. But anyway, Khan, I have other people backstage. Do you have any other questions
Yeah.
or comments you want to ask?
Oh no, just the last thing I'll mention is like, yeah, I find it ironic that when it goes like against Islam, or like, well, from their perspective, when it goes against Islam, they'll go to the Hadith, and the second it goes in our favor, it's like, oh no, we don't accept the Hadith. Like, all right, okay, never mind then.
Yeah, that's literally cherry picking. Yeah.
Yeah, all right, thank you, brother, for having me on. Assalamu
Yeah, no
alaikum wa
problem, bro.
rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Barakallah fiqh. All right. Um. All right, Mr. Straight to It. All right. Hello, how are you?
You got me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro. You good?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I think you and Dean, it's embarrassing testifying in Chris. I watched that whole entire live. Like, I rewatched it, seen the reaction with Dean and Libyan on you. I don't understand how they have an audience. Like, it makes me think like either Christians are just plain sheep, or or like I don't get it. Like
Yeah.
every
Did you
argument,
see the appeal to the chat fallacy?
yeah, the chat's not agreeing. Like obviously the chat's not gonna be agreeing. It's a Christian chat. It makes
Yeah,
sense.
that's crazy, bro.
Yeah, but I wanted to. I wanted to. I was. It's kind of like what the other brother was saying. I'm thinking at this point that they don't care for the answer, like the Islamic dilemma, like or a certain question. What's the Injil? How like dog logic brings up all these questions that I don't think they look for an answer at this point. Like they don't even want to answer because when it gets refuted, they continue to push the same garbage.
Exactly right. And it's not like they don't have the answer. Like this has been refuted since the day it was conceived of. Since David Wood thought of this nonsense, it's already been refuted. But they're so dishonest. And like if you just search up Islamic dilemma refuted, you'll get like 100 videos, bro, but all these different guys refuting it. Like Muhammad Hijab, Farid Response. Farid Response has like 5 videos on it, I believe. Like Dean has like how many videos does Dean have on it? All these different people who are all, you know, intelligent guys, they've all refuted this nonsense so long ago. Like you can find people from like 10 years ago refuting this stuff. Adnan Rashid refuting this stuff. When what's his name, James White tries to bring it up in his debate, and he gets cooked on it as well. He tries to say, "Oh, how can you say that the people of the book are supposed to judge by the gospel? Like, what does that mean?" And then Adnan Rashid just explains it to him calmly, and then James White just never brings it up again because he's honest. He realizes, okay, that makes sense. Why would I keep using this really bad argument?
Yeah, I agree. I was wondering who created the Islamic dilemma. Like, cause I'm like, there's
I'm
no
pretty
way
sure
that
David Wood, bro. He came out of his brilliant mind.
David Wood, he's a demon. I was going to shit ton of him. He eats the
Oh, the
Quran and stuff like that. Like that's to me that is, he's done it multiple times at points. And then when I seen Chris, he was about to cry about Libiano doxing or supporting doxing, even though Libiano denied it, but said that it was fine for David Wood to eat the Quran. I don't know if you ever seen the clip with Nas, Islamic Apex. He said, "Relax,
I'm not really.
relax."
I'm not really on TikTok that much, bro. Like I don't.
It was
I'm
on
not. I'm
YouTube.
not
I'm
on
sorry.
it. Yeah, but I'm not familiar with him as much. But all I know
Okay.
is that Libiano wasn't doxing or doing anything he shouldn't be doing, and these guys trying to like, they're trying to use that as an excuse so that they don't have to deal with his arguments or with the substance of his arguments. Like they can address his substance without, like, bro. Like if they wanted to, they could debate Dean. If they have such an issue with Libiano, they could just debate Dean and say, look, Dean can make the same arguments as Libiano, and Dean would still cook them. But the issue is they don't want to deal with the substance, and they're just using that as a cover.
Yeah, I
But
noticed
anyway,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that too. And David Wood, I was saying he eating a crop for being told to relax. And Testify was basically saying that something like that is fine, like in certain situations.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but look, to be honest, bro, like it's just an embarrassing showing. And to be honest, I'm glad that we had the opportunity to press them, bro, because they were not ready for that at all. You could tell, like, Testify was not ready. The Wood guy was not ready. None of them were ready, bro. They all got cooked. But anyway, do you have any other questions or comments, Akhi?
Yes, hold on. One of the questions I wanted to ask was it was 2 questions actually. I was saying I know you're very knowledgeable. I was gonna ask how old are you? If you don't
I'm
mind.
22, bro.
That's crazy. I just turned 23. Like seeing you, Libiano, being like young brothers with all this knowledge it's a blessing. And then I was gonna ask also, doesn't it say I forgot which exact verse, I don't have the Quran on me right now, where Jesus, peace be upon him, he came to confirm the Torah, but no Christian ever brings that up because they reject parts of the
Yeah.
Torah.
Yeah, in
But
Surah
it's the
Al-Ma'idah,
same
yeah.
thing. He came to confirm the Torah. The same thing that they, with Prophet
Exactly.
Muhammad sallallahu alaihi
Yeah,
wasallam came
it's
confirming the
literally the
previous
same thing.
scriptures.
Yeah, you're completely right. It's literally the same thing. The same way Jesus generally confirms the Torah and abrogates parts of it, and selectively he chooses parts that are not emblemished and he corrects the parts that are emblemished, is the same way we confirm the Injil. We take away the parts that are emblemished, which is, as they say, the part where Jesus predicts his own death or the death and resurrection and that whole significance, which is later embellished by Paul. All these things we don't agree with and we don't consider to be Injil, but the statements, teachings, and parables of Jesus Christ that are authentic to him, that are also established in the Quran, is what we accept as Injil.
Right. Yeah. I just find it hypocritical because in their book, like the Matthew 23, and then also in the Quran, it talks about Jesus confirming what came before him, but they never bring that up. And it's funny because I see a lot of Christians if you bring up a verse like Deuteronomy 22:28 or Numbers 31:18, they reject these completely. Some of them will go as far to cope and say, "Oh, that's the Old Testament," or they're just not familiar with it at all. And it makes me think like these dudes they're closeted atheists. Like they don't read their scriptures at all. Like I feel like they just listen to the pastor preach. they realize that they can't defend their religion, so it's attack Islam. Like
Yeah,
Avery,
exactly.
for example, Avery, his whole channel from his very first video is about Islam and trying to debunk Islam.
Yeah, I mean,
I
but
don't
look,
get it.
his arguments are terrible, bro. He said what's his name? He said like John of Damascus refuted Islam.
Just
Like
the
he
martyr.
was trying. Yeah, he was trying to say he was trying to say John of Damascus, but he said Justin Martyr. He confused the two, and like you need to understand like the compounded stupidity of that statement. First of all, like the obvious is that Justin Martyr obviously lived way before Islam, and he had he knew nothing about it. So how can you refute something that didn't even exist then, according to like his standard, right?
Right.
Obviously Islam existed like from before, but I'm talking about like proper Islam with the Sharia of Muhammad, etc., etc.
Right.
Now, the second point is that even if I grant to him the statement that he wanted to say, which he still messed up, which is that John of Damascus refuted Islam, John of Damascus is a polemicist, bro. John of Damascus believes there's a chapter in the Quran called the chapter of the she camel, and he narrates the story about this she camel, and it's nowhere in the Quran. Like he's just spewing falsehood about Islam to make Muslims look bad because he's a polemicist, and historians note this. Like Robert Hoyland, he notes this when he goes through his sources on John of Damascus in his book "Seeing Islam as Others Saw It." So, like, it's stupid on so many levels. Like, it genuinely boggles the mind that anyone takes this guy seriously.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. And then the comment sections are like, no matter what, the comment section is like dog log. He could get baked, completely cooked, folded on the argument, and then you have the comments. They're just, "What's the NGL? Oh, W." I'm like, it's insane to me. It's like
it's a hive mind, bro. Look, it's a hive mind, bro. That's what it is, bro. It's people. They're grasping at straws. It's a dying religion. They're no longer the majority, even in their own countries. They're getting literally most like the biggest people on the rise. People are becoming atheists and agnostics. They're leaving Christianity in droves because of this. They know it just doesn't make sense. How can a man die for the sins? How can there be a God man who died for the sins of the world? How can there be a Trinity which is 3 in 1 and 1 in 3? It doesn't make any sense at all whatsoever.
The fully man, fully God thing, to me, I don't know how anyone could, when they try to make arguments on it, that's a full contradiction. To be fully man is the opposite of being God.
Literally, bro.
Opposite. The last question I wanted to ask you
sure
was I had asked Dean before, but like, how do we as Muslims, like, in the simple terms, and at least from your point of view, prove Jesus being a Muslim when like they'll say he called God Father or things like
that. So Dean has a nice video on this on his second channel. Dean Explains. I don't know if you're subscribed to that, but he has a second he has a channel called is Allah a father in any sense, and he explains how this is a term that was used. We have no issue with this term being used in the past with the correct meaning and understanding that he is the protector, provider, sustainer, and Ibn Taymiyyah goes through this in his book Jawab al-Sahih, which is the refutation of the Christians. So we have no issue with that term. But when you ask, how do we know Jesus was a Muslim? Well, it's because he preached strict monotheism. He was a Torah-observing Jew. He believed in the prophets to come after him, and he submitted his will to the will of God, just like every other Muslim. So he had the fundamental tenets of Islam.
Okay.
So that's what makes him a Muslim.
Gotcha. Thank you. Jazakallah khair.
Wa iyyak akhi. Assalamu alaikum. All right. Qasim. Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, how are you?
Assalamu alaikum. Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Are you Muslim?
Okay. Yes, I reverted to Islam 7 years ago.
Barakallah fiqh.
Yes.
Do you have a question for me, akhi?
Yes, it's kind of more a historical one because I see you, Dean, and Orthodox Muslim and the boys know a lot about early church history. So I've seen you guys mention several times how the current concept of Trinity, it was not present after before Nicaea among the early church fathers. Yeah.
Yep.
So like at some point someone came up with it. Do we know who did that and how it got into Nicaea to become like, I don't know if it was majority or consensus in Nicaea. How was this process? Do you know about it? Does history know about it?
Yeah, so if you want to say who was the main figurehead, we can say people like, for example, Augustine and people who are on the Council of Nicaea arguing in favor of them, the bishops there, we know some of their names, who they were. But if you're asking who's the one who originated the idea, that's a little bit more unclear. We don't have a precise, like, it's very hard to know. Like, it's the same thing now. Like, for example, if you ask me who invented calculus, people will say Isaac Newton, but there was another guy before him who, like, around the same time also came up with the same idea. So who exactly had the idea first, no one knows, like, Allahu A'lam. But we know that
Yeah.
it stems to these, like, major figures. Do you understand what I mean, Akhi? So, but in terms of the development of doctrine, that's something that all critical scholars know about and agree about. So I'll even show you, Akhi. Like, here, 1 second, I'll pull it up for you. Yeah. 1 second. All right, let me just share my screen. All right, you can see?
Slowly, okay.
Yeah. So this is the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, right? Which is like pretty much one of the most well-respected encyclopedias of philosophy. And it says very clearly, and this is written by multiple scholars, not just a single scholar. It says clearly here in the development of creed section, no theologian in the first 3 centuries of Christianity, in the first 3 Christian centuries, was a Trinitarian in the sense of believing that the one God is tripersonal, containing equally defined persons, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. So they say this very clearly, that this idea was developed later on, right? And the early Christianity was theologically diverse, right? So, and they go on to explain all the different, like, main controversies, all the different main figures. And I would recommend this resource for you if you want to look into it a bit more deeply. But the point here is very simple, which is that their own scholars, like, this is written by Christian scholars. Muslim scholars are not the ones writing this. And they themselves concede that, look, yeah, there was a development here. And we can give you a list of scholars who believe that from their own saints and doctors of divinity. This is like an open secret, but it's just that the lay people, they don't know this.
Yes, I agree. I was already convinced by the arguments of Dean and everybody, because you quoted the early church fathers and how they thought the sun was a minor god and whatever other how to say, it's a specter, right? It's evolved.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, but there's so, like, you can literally see the development, Akhi, like, you can literally see it in 4K. Like, you can see how the earliest Christians believed that Jesus was a man approved of God by wonders and miracles and signs, which God did by him, and you yourselves are witness to. This is in Acts. This is what Peter says to his followers. Then that later becomes an exaltationist Christology, where they believe that at a certain point in time, probably at the resurrection, that Jesus was exalted into the right hand of God, and there's some divinity there. And then it gets pushed back further and further to where he's now exalted at the baptism. And then it gets pushed back even further to now he's exalted from eternity past. Right. Then after that, after he's exalted from eternity past, what he does is then it becomes, okay, well, he's exalted from eternity past, but he's a lesser
What
deity,
does it
which
mean?
is
What does it mean?
exalted means that you've been raised up to a high status.
Okay, so like meaning that he always existed?
No. He's still created at a point in time, but just that he rose. He's so special that God basically chose him to be with him forever
Okay.
at a certain point. Do you understand? So that's what it means. So, but he's still created at a point in time. He's not eternal yet. And that's what Justin Martyr believes. He believes that the Son is a product of the Father's will, and that at a certain point in time, the Father caused him to exist. And you get this 2-stage logos theory. So you get people like Irenaeus, and you get people like Ignatius, and then you get people who are even more closer to Trinitarianism, slightly, who are subordinationists still, like Tertullian, and then eventually you get Nicene Trinitarianism in its orthodoxy after, like, Arius and the Arian controversy. So you can literally see, you can map out the development.
What would be 2-stage logos?
Yeah, so 2-stage logos theory is the idea that at one stage, the Father and the Son were inseparable from each other. They were actually identical. They were a single entity. And then the Son, being the Father's mind, or like just being a part of the Father, at another stage, the second stage, he was created as a product of the Father's will. So there's 2 stages.
It's a mitosis.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, basically. Yeah, but they have different nomenclature for it. So they have different words of how they explain this. They say like the son is the father's intellect, and then the father generates him, and then this happens at a certain point in time. Like this is very clearly what Ignatius believed, for example.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions, Akhi?
Yes, it's just related to the book that Dean is going to write. Do you know about it? If it, for example, I know that we would have verses of the New Testament colored regarding how reliable they are, correct, or how compatible with Islam.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But will it have information about, oh, this verse was a fabrication, this only appeared later, this is a later variation, etc., etc.? Do you know about it?
No, it's not going to have textual criticism notes because that's not the point of the book. The book isn't
Mhm.
there for textual criticism. If you want that, there are good study Bibles that have that type of thing.
Yeah, I would
Like,
like that.
yeah, like for example, the NIV, I know it has a lot of nice connotations at the bottom. Whenever there's a disputed passage, it'll put it at the bottom. But Dean's book is mainly focused, like you said, Akhi, on the compatibility of the teachings in the four Gospels with Islamic themes and Islamic continuity, and seeing to what degree do these statements and parables are they reconcilable with Islamic teaching and doctrine, and again, color coded based on that.
Okay, I get it. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time and your informations.
No, barakallah fiqh, akhi.
Jazakallah khair.
وإياك وإياك. Where did Dean go? Yeah, I kicked him out. He's finished. He's gone. Alright, guys. Any other Christians in chat who want to come up? You guys get priority, of course. So if there's any Christians and you guys have questions, or you want to ask something that's pressing, you want to press me, that's fine. You guys can come up, and you guys will have the show. You guys have priority. So any Christians in chat, make sure to come up, ask me any questions you may have. And other than that, yeah, okay. Other than that, then yeah, total takeover, exactly. Yeah. So this is the Leafy show now. Barakallah fikum. By the way, guys, I want all of you guys to subscribe to my channel and check out my latest video refuting Ustaz Dr. Joshua Little. I cook him really hard, bro. And I need you guys to be aware of the arguments that these revisionists and Orientalists use. I need you guys to level up your game, gain some knowledge, be familiar with their arguments, because I have a feeling that this is the next wave of attacks in the future, that these types of arguments are going to start to become popular again, or they're going to start to become common again. And I need you guys to be ready and prepared for them. I need you guys to understand where they come from, the history of them, and I need you to understand how to refute them as well. So definitely, if you want to level up your game refuting Orientalism, make sure to check out my video refuting Joshua. And inshallah, I'm also going to be making a video very soon going even in greater detail, just giving a lecture on Orientalism and going through some key important sources to show the development of Orientalism, how the ideas, like the methodology behind the way that they approach the sources, and why it's incoherent and why it's contradictory, why the methodologies are flawed. And yeah, inshallah. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that and turn on the bell notification as well. So barakallah fikum. No, I don't know who Omar Lighthouse is. Meanwhile, if you guys have any questions for me in chat, you guys can ask me questions or issues that you guys want to bring up. I'm more than happy to listen. Doesn't Joshua Little believe in the Petra theory? No, to be fair, he doesn't believe in it. He calls it nonsensical. He doesn't believe in it, but he does believe in theories that are also like other theories which are nonsensical. So he doesn't believe in that one because that one's even too absurd for him. But there are other ones he does believe that are just equally like nonsensical as well. Like for example, he believes that like all the muhaddithin were stupid. They couldn't catch fabricators of hadith, or that the muhaddithin were in on the fabrications. Like the muhaddithin were part, like it was a grand conspiracy from Spain to Pakistan. All the muhaddithin were in on the fabrication. That's literally what he believes. He believes that also there's like mass amnesia, that all the Sahaba like suddenly like and the Tabi'in they suddenly forgot everything about the Prophet, like to a great deal. They don't even remember the ages and the chronology. Like he says like the chronology is generally reliable, but even that is a little bit like shady. But like the details about events, he says like, oh, that's completely like emblemished, which is like insane. Yeah, literally he says he believes in mass amnesia. Like I'm not joking, I can pull up the emails right now and I can show you. He said that Aisha would not know her own age, and he cited like some random uh, in his thesis he cited like some random society and tried to say that they live in similar conditions, so therefore like this is a fair assumption. What are some other blunders that I'm thinking about? Yeah, and he just genuinely like his just approach is very very like stupid. It's just very very uncharitable, and just it's not very convincing at all. So that's why we want to knock him while he's still unknown, and make sure that everyone knows that this guy's a jahil and not to take from him. So hopefully that answers your question. The Canaanite woman in Matthew, nice name by the way, and jazakallah khair for the super chat as well. Is the Injil the Q gospel? Yeah, so what we don't say that it is the Q gospel, meaning that it's identical to the Q gospel, but we can say that a lot of what is in the Q gospel is Injil. So a good deal of that would be Injil, right? But we don't do an absolute confirmation even on the Q gospel, because there are different kinds of reconstructions of what Q was, and even Q is influenced by other things as well. So even Q, we don't know where is it coming from, so we can't do an absolute confirmation on that. Leafy, who do you think Dhul Khifli is? I think you meant to say Dhul Qarnayn, right? Nighttime, or am I misreading you? Are all prophets in the Bible outside the Quran considered prophets in Islam? Yeah, for the most part, they're all considered prophets, and unless we have a reason to reject them. Leafy, when will you bless us with another formal debate similar to what you did with Rob? It just depends whenever these guys want to show up. To be honest, like it just depends when these guys want to show up, because they're scared, they're running. So it just depends on that, bro. Because the issue is there's a lot of people who want to debate, but most of them are very like low level, like they're not even worth my time. So I'd rather spend my time on other things that are more important, like answering your guys' questions on Discord, or working on videos that are going to be of greater benefit. So definitely make sure to like the live and subscribe so you can get more content that is beneficial, inshallah. Is the Gospel of Barnabas authentic? No, the Gospel of Barnabas is not authentic. I believe the extant manuscript is somewhere like in the 15th century, and that's the one that mentions the prophet. So it's clearly not authentic. Leafy, atheist claimed Al-Qarnayn story assumes a flat Earth. How do you respond? Yeah, I mean that's just stupid. Like that's just an assumption on their part. Where does the Quran say the Earth is flat? It says the opposite, actually. Yeah, so that's just like the atheists who say that, like they don't know Arabic, they haven't read the Quran. Does Joshua even know the ABCs of epistemology to make up these weird, highly improbable hypotheses? No, he doesn't. Like you have to understand that these Orientalists, they haven't studied philosophy. They just studied like HCM. So they don't understand epistemology. Most of them are not philosophically trained. I mean, once in a while you'll get a good one who actually is philosophically trained, but Joshua definitely is not epistemologically, like he doesn't understand epistemology at all. And he doesn't realize that the same level of skepticism he applies, if he's consistent with it, he's just going to end up becoming like a solipsist. Dul Khifl. I don't know who that is, akhi. What's your opinion on revisionists? I heard you really like them. Yeah, I love them. That's why I'm refuting them. Assalamu alaikum. Hope you guys are well. Make sure to subscribe to this channel and also Brother Dean's channel. Let me see if there's anything that is worth responding to. I know Dean went through Chris's video, but I feel like it's worth like just going through the highlights again, which is funny. So let me just get that up for you guys. 1 second. Again, meanwhile, if there's Christians that want to come up, you guys are more than welcome to come up. Okay. And also make sure to subscribe to my channel, of course. Check out my videos, inshallah. I'll be making more videos soon, inshallah. I'm just busy with other stuff. Where's Dean? The live is ruined. Nah, bro, come on. I'm here to carry you. Okay. So let's come here. But Dawood, I have a question. Did he answer my question?
Dean, if you want to debate me privately, you
Why are
go
you
ahead and
trying
do
to
that.
debate
Right now, you're debating Chris.
Oh, he's fine.
Deal with
So you're making
deal
the
with
rules, bro. Are you not
this
making the
shit.
rules? Let me slow down a little bit. We can agree to your moderation, bro. Yeah, again, so he's going with this whole like donating angle, but that's like so stupid. Like, Dean's already responded. So why are you still pressing the same point? You have no issue being with like people who ask for money, like the ex-Muslim guy or David Wood or Apus or any of these idiots. But you have an issue when Muslims are funded, when Muslims are organized, when Muslims are refuting your stuff. That's really what you have an issue with. You don't have an issue with the funding. So again, this is just a cheap this is just a cheap blow. That again, when Dean pressed him on this, he's like, "Oh, it's just a joke. It's just a joke." Yeah, all right. We've seen your jokes.
And baby Dean, and he brought his friend Leafy. I don't know who Leafy is, but he's a good friend, Leafy.
Yeah, I am a good friend. Unlike you, you're a Jahash.
Anyway, this was amazing because I actually got the opportunity to voice my issues with his responses face to face, or as face to face as it possibly can be, given that he's in some other country in a different time zone and he never bothered to turn his camera on at any point. But fine, good enough. And so begins the epic debate. So I've broken it up into the sections where Dean.
Yeah, but Dean doesn't show his face because it's 2 a.m. for him. Like, if you want to see Dean's face so bad, why don't you hop on his live? Like, you know where he's at. You're clearly aware of his videos. So why don't you man up and come to the live? Like, we would give you the show. We would literally we would be very respectful. We would let you make your points because unlike you, we wouldn't be interrupting in the middle of the discussion and laughing at you and doing whatever. But like, we'd give you respect, even though you don't deserve the respect, obviously. But we'd still be better than you.
Dean speaks, the sections where I speak, and the sections where the bush speaks. So you guys can watch.
So he calls me the bush. That's actually insane, bro. Look, man, he's just jealous he can't grow a beard. That's the issue. Like, come on, bro. Chris, what the hell is that? What the hell is that facial hair? Be real, guys. Come on. Is that the facial hair of a man or a woman? Like, look at that facial hair. Yeah, well, what does turning on his camera have to do with anything? Lucky Benamel. That chin is smooth. Bro, that's a 3-in-1 chin right there. If anything's going to make me believe in the Trinity, it's that chin. So he calls me the bush. Like, I mean, all right, bro. This bush, you got cooked by a bush. I'm the burning bush. I'm the burning bush that appeared to Moses, bro. I'm cooking you. I'm on fire, bro. That's how I'm cooking you, bro.
Watch it without having to commit to the 2 or 3 hours that this was in total. I don't know how long the live stream was. It was something like that. So what does this friend Leafy do? Straight away, the first critique he has about the Islamic dilemma, it is the Bible. It's a Matthew 23 thing again.
Yeah, because it's the thing that you didn't want to respond to. So of course I'm going to press you on the thing that you're purposefully not responding to. That shows that you're a hypocrite and that you're inconsistent and that refutes your entire dilemma. Why wouldn't I press you on the most central point that Dean's been pressing you, right? So again, you're trying to he's trying to come at the angle of, oh, he just wants to shift to the Bible because he can't defend the Islamic dilemma. But no. This shift is what solves the Islamic dilemma because it shows that you're a hypocrite. I can shift to other things too. I can shift to your church fathers and show you how Justin Martyr does a general confirmation of the Old Testament and that he picks and chooses from it and that is in line with what the Quran is doing. I can shift to other things, but it's all the same point. The same point is that I can pick and choose from your scriptures because your scriptures are not reliable. Your scriptures are not reliable. And this is by consensus. So the Quran assumes that your scriptures are not reliable because it's from God and he knows all things. So the Quranic author knows your scriptures are unreliable and therefore changes the parts that are false and replaces them with the parts that are good, which is why it's a muhaymin, a guardian, a protector, a filterer over it. As Nicholas Sinai says, Leafy, don't interfere with his stubble journey. Barakallah feek for the chat, akhi. And yeah, I mean, bro, That's not the face of a man. That's all I'm gonna say, bro. Like Hasha ni'matullah, like he's a human being. Allah created him, but like that's a face only a mother can love.
The first thing he does, he's got the opportunity to bring anything with how I look at things historically regarding the 7th century understanding of the Injil and Torah.
Yeah, but I already. Here's the thing. I already know that you're like. You think I don't know your methodology? I've watched your videos, bro. I know your methodology. Your methodology is ad hoc. You quote Shoemaker and Crone and these idiots, these revisionists. I know what your methodology is. I cooked your boy Rob on it. You should watch my video, bro. So why would I go to someone less qualified who I cooked someone more qualified on? Why would I discuss the same topic? If I just beat like Joshua Little on his methodology, I just smacked him around. Why would I then go to someone who is like a first-year Orientalist, just getting into Islamic studies and start bullying him? What's the point? I already beat your big guy. Unless you think you're smarter than Rob on history, or you're more intelligent than Rob in terms of trying to find historical errors in the Quran, or you're trying to find a stronger criteria than Rob uses, then you got no legs to stand on, bro. Why would I want to discuss that with you? You're a jahid. You can't even get the Islamic dilemma right.
Or anything to do with prophecies of Muhammad, or anything to.
Yeah, well, you got cooked on prophecies of Muhammad as well. You got cooked on the Paraclete. So what are you yapping about? I mean, come on, guys. Like, what is this?
Do with the definition of Injil or Torah, or anything to do with. But no. He wants to show.
We did get into what the Torah and what the Injil is. Dean explained that to you. So the fact that we did get there, but the most pressing point is the crux of the issue, which is we believe the Quran filters out material. It picks and chooses. And you say, oh, that's cherry picking. You can't do that. And I say, no, it's not cherry picking, because cherry picking means that when all else is equal, I'm just taking the parts I like and I take the parts I don't like. But that's not what we're doing. We're not saying all else is equal. We're saying that there are parts that are historically unreliable, that are unverified, that pretty much every scholar worth his salt will say, like, no, this is not historical. Like, for example, the I am sayings in John. All scholars say this is unreliable, right? Or the additions in Luke 22, for example. Scholars will say that's unreliable. Or the fabrication. You can just read Bart Ehrman's book, like The Orthodox Corruption of Scripture. He'll give you a list of them. All those things. Why would I have to say, like, there's an equal playing field in the Bible? There isn't. And it's clear that there isn't, because you yourself, I'm pretty sure you accept that there are stories in the Bible that are made up later. You accept that the story of the adulterous woman is made up later. You accept that the Johannine comma is made up later. It's an interpolation. It's a fabrication. So you're trying to say cherry pick, but like, it's to cherry pick something, you have to assume that everything is equal, when clearly it isn't.
Oh, I'm a hypocrite because then he saves Islam. Remember, Muslims, your faith depends on whether or not I'm a hypocrite, apparently, which I find.
No, our faith is completely independent of you, but showing you're a hypocrite is like the cherry on the cake. Like, come on, like, what is this face, bro? Like, he's praying to Jesus, like, Jesus, please save me from this humbling I got, like, from this absolute slappage I got completely folded, Jesus, please. But no, look, Jesus is not going to save you. He can't hear you, right? And even if he could hear you, he couldn't help you. So your prayers are not being answered, bro. Come to monotheism. Come to the truth. That's what I'm trying to help you with.
Find really good, really good. It isn't based on reason or logic or evidences that Allah has given you as science as they are. No, it's based on whether or not some random blonde guy is being hypocritical. Because if he is, your faith is sound. But if he isn't, your faith is
Okay, we got this point.
To what you had. Not
Leafy and Dean, or according to Baby Dean and the Bush. Let's watch.
Yeah, Baby Dean in the bush. I mean, what the hell is that? Oh, that's funny.
the clip.
You don't want to get you're jumping. Well, no, I'm not saying that I'm not willing to talk about it.
Okay.
You're jumping, and so you answered, but I have follow-ups to what you had to say.
Oh, okay, sure, no problem. We'll continue the line of questioning as long as we get back to Matthew 23 later. Is that all right?
Can I ask a quick question real quick?
I mean,
If
yeah,
you're
we have
correct-
questions.
If you're correct about Matthew 23, how does it help the average
It
Muslim?
shows that you're a hypocrite.
Okay,
That's
but
what
how does that help you as a
helps,
Muslim?
yeah, it helps me show that you're a hypocrite. That's what it shows.
Okay, so it doesn't actually help you at all with Islamic.
Yeah, it shows the general affirmation position. You hold to the same position in Matthew 23. So it shows your hypocrisy. So what you purposely did in your
so,
video
so it
quiz.
shows.
Wait, sorry. One
Well,
second.
you
I'm
just
not
jumped
done
in.
my
I
response.
wasn't finished with my.
So here, he interrupts Dean while Dean is giving a response, and then he's complaining that he didn't get to finish his. So I mean, showing that you're a hypocrite is a W enough. But I mean, I'll also show you guys what Dean posted on his server relating to this. 1 second. Let me find it. One second, guys. Let me just find it. All right. Oh my god, that's actually hilarious. Hey, bro, God Logic sweating, bro. It's getting hot in the kitchen. Hey, bro, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen, God Logic. What are you doing, bro? But anyway. Can you guys hear me? Oh, no audio, no audio. My bad. Let me share it again with audio. I don't know why you guys couldn't hear. One sec. Let me know if you guys can hear. Can you guys hear us still or no? Still no audio? Hold on, wait, let me save it then. Okay, 1 second. All right, you guys should be able to hear now. I don't know why you guys can't hear. Let me know if you guys can't hear. Nah, I don't know why there's no audio. That's weird. Chris looks like a prepubescent potato. Oh, no, bro, that's out of pocket. Come on, man. From now on, starting videos with memes, bro. W. Hey, bro. Dean's taking notes from my videos because I start my videos. I start my videos with memes. Hey, my bad, guys. Come on. Bro, it's my first day at work. You guys need to cut me some slack. It's very low leafy. Oh, you guys could hear it though. This is the max volume. Like it's literally at 100%. Anyway, I think you guys get the gist though. So you're gonna see it on Dean's stream, so it doesn't really matter either way. You heard it? Okay, cool. All right. Before I continue reacting, there's some people on the backstage. I'll just get them up quickly. Assalamu alaikum. Say Wham, you're on the live, brother. You here? All right, nope. Zaid. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can you hear my brother?
I can hear you, akhi. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So, brother, I wanted to discuss with you in, how we deal with these disbeliever. In my opinion, first of all, I like what you and Dean are doing. The arguments you provide against the Islamic dilemma, which is a very weak argument, are honestly, they couldn't like reply to it. It's a very good argument. It's just the way we deal with this disbeliever. I think we should leave out the insults because from what I understand, it's not the,
No.
yeah. Go on, brother.
Yeah, no, we don't look with people like this. We don't leave out insults. If someone insults Rasulullah, are you gonna sit there and be quiet?
It's a very tough question, but
No, no, no. It's
I would
not. It's
say
not a tough
I will
question.
not
Okay.
engage
It's
with
not a tough
him.
question.
I will
Okay.
not
Yeah,
engage
you
with him.
can. Yeah, you cannot engage with. That's your choice. You want to be a monk. You want to be a Buddhist. You want to turn the cheek. That's your choice. Okay, but if someone insults Rasulullah to me, I'm gonna go after you, bro. I'm not gonna sit there and be quiet
Mm,
and give you my other cheek. Okay. And these people, Chris
yeah.
insults Rasulullah. What's his name? Testify. You seen his videos about the Prophet.
Yeah,
alayhi
yeah,
salatu
it's
wasalam.
disgusting.
So okay, so khalas, that's it. So this is how I deal with him. He's disgusting. I treat him like someone who's disgusting. That's it.
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
Do you have any other questions,
But
Akhi?
no, it was just about this question. I didn't get your point of view, but when you say it like that, yeah, I get it. They
Okay.
really do insult the Prophet.
Exactly. Barakallah fiqh. All right, I'll get someone else. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum. All right, let me try this guy again. Yo, Saywam, are you still here, bro, or what's going on? Nope, still not here. All right, let's hopefully this time the thing works. One sec. All right. All right, you guys should be able to hear.
Pokemon! Who's that Pokemon?
It just, to me, that tells me as a kufar here, as a
Damn, bro. God bless whoever edited that. MashaAllah. Hey, W intro. What do you guys think about the intro? This time I got it right. This time you guys could hear. Alhamdulillah, you guys could hear. That's good. Got someone else on the backstage. Let me just get them up quickly. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you just have a bit of background noise. If you can just fix that.
Okay. Can you hear clearly now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. That's a bit better. Do you have a question, Akhi?
Can you hear me now? Better.
Yeah, I can hear you, Akhi. Do you have a question?
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask. I actually asked Dean a question on Discord. I thought he would be present on this live, but is it still coming?
He's a bit busy for today, but he'll be here tomorrow, inshallah. But what's your question? I can probably answer it.
It's on the angel of the Lord concept. Okay, because the angel of the Lord concept.
Yeah, what about it?
Reading through this angel of the Lord concept, it's kind of contradictory to Islam in some way, because this angel of the Lord carries the name of Allah, okay, the name of God, and also speak on behalf of God. Okay, also called God.
Yeah, okay. So let me teach you something. Okay. So not everything that's called God in the Old Testament means that it's God in the same sense. So you can have something being called God, like for example, in the 82nd Psalm, God says to Moses, and I have made you a God unto Pharaoh. And he says as well, he says, and to the children of Israel, I said, I have made you gods, right? And children of the Most High. So not every time the word God is used, it means like in the Old Testament doesn't mean the same thing that you think of. It's not shirk because the meaning is different. Now,
okay,
when we say that there's an agent who acts on behalf of God, what's shirky about that? For example, we believe Jibril alayhi salam, he acts on behalf of God. He's an agent of God. God doesn't come down. Jibril comes down and he gives revelation. He acts as an agent of God. So I don't see the issue with that. The issue is when you say that. Yeah, the issue is, akhi, when you try and say that this agent of God is divine in some sense. Do you understand?
Well, I believe the Christians believe he is divine and is Jesus.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter what the Christians believe. It matters what does the text say.
The reason I actually thought of this angel of the Lord concept was because the other time I came here, you told me.
You're cutting out, akhi. I can't hear you. Hello? Just fix your mic, akhi, then I'll be happy to bring you back up. Shirake. Yo, assalamu alaikum.
وعليكم السلام. وعليكم
يا
السلام.
يا أخي. Yo, can you hear me?
Achim, I made an argument in the Trinity.
Yeah, sure, but the stream's on the Islamic dilemma, akhi, so you can tell me it quickly, but it's not really on topic. Can you hear me?
Do you have Discord? I send you the
Yeah,
argument.
yeah, I have Discord. You can just add it. It's just Leafy was here. You can just add me and send it to me, and I'll check it out, inshallah.
Okay, thank you, brother.
Okay,
Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah, no problem. And then Muslim.
Assalamu
Assalamu
alaikum.
alaikum.
Okay, so I'm outside right now, so there might be sounds of cars passing by, so I'll mute when they're talking. But during these debates on the Islamic dilemma, I heard of the infancy gospel of Thomas, and that corresponds to stories in the Quran. So I'm just asking, if that came later, how did those stories come into the infancy gospel of Thomas? Was it by oral tradition, or I'm just wondering because I don't really see how that works. Like, how did these two stories not end up in Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John or whatever, but it ended up
Yeah,
in the infancy gospel of Thomas?
yeah, so no problem, Akhi. So what we say is that the Gospel of Thomas can have some historical information and some ahistorical information, and that the historical information that it does have has a common tradition that goes back earlier, that goes back to the original teachings of Jesus, which is what the Quran affirms. So there's no issue with that.
So is that an oral tradition, or is that what would that be?
Yeah,
Like, what kind of
so,
tradition?
so yeah, because Akhi, you have to understand that there were many different traditions going on around Jesus, and only some of them became canon. There were like dozens of gospels. There were dozens and dozens of different gospels, but only a few of them actually got picked to be in the canon. So why should we assume that the ones that they picked are the ones that are actually historical? We know that's not true. We know there are other gospels that are also historical that did not make it into the canon.
So were the traditional gospels, were they canonized after the Gospel of Thomas was sort of like?
The Gospel of Thomas was never canonized, but they were canonized after it was made. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Okay, well, that was my question. Okay, thank you.
Okay, barakallah fiqh. No problem, akhi. And Abdullah, I can save you for the end of the stream, akhi. Unless, do you have a question now, Abdullah? Or if you want to turn off your camera, I'll bring you up quickly. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yes, I have a question right now.
Yeah, what's your question, akhi?
Yeah, okay. So in Mark 14:62, Jesus claims that the Son of Man and will be at the right hand of God. And many biblical commentaries say this is a claim of divinity. How do we refute this?
Yeah, so there's no issue with a prophet being at the right hand of God, like when it comes to prophecies of the future or on the day of judgment. We believe everyone is going to be on the right hand of God. We want to be on the right hand of God.
Yeah,
So
but the
that
Jews accused Isa alayhi salam of blasphemy when he said this.
yeah, but the Jews are constantly accusing Isa of blasphemy no matter what, so they're not a good source. If
True.
Jesus
He
just said
clarified what he
if
said in John
it,
8:58.
yeah, if Jesus said anything, if Jesus sneezed, they'd be like, aha, blasphemy. And then the Christians are like, aha, it must be God. But the Jews are scheming. So no matter what he says, they're just trying to get him in trouble. So why would I listen to what the Jews say? When Jesus condemns them over and over again, he says, you generations of hypocrites, you liars. He calls them all kinds of names. He swears at them constantly.
Okay, Jazakallah khair. I just wanted clarification on the
Well,
matter.
yeah, akhi, no problem. And then Zahid, assalamu alaikum, akhi. You cut out?
Wa alaikum assalam. Can you hear me clearly now?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly now.
Alhamdulillah. So the reason I actually thought of the angel of the Lord concept was because I look up the hadith on Abdullah bin Salam, and then it reminded me of this hadith about the angel visiting Jibril visiting the prophet the first time, and then the prophet said, visiting Waraqah, and then Waraqah telling the prophet that this same angel came to Moses alayhi salam. Okay, so I just, and we don't have an explicit verse in the Bible where Jibril alayhi salam visits the prophet. So I just thought of the angel of the Lord concept, because the angel of the Lord was identified as Jibril in, I believe, Luke 1. So when I read other passages describing the angel of the Lord, I come across this kind of like Exodus 3, I believe. Maybe you can pull up the verse. But you already explained that when something is called God, doesn't necessarily mean it's actually God, because God is used in a flexible way. I don't know
Yeah,
what.
that's right.
So, what do you think about the concept of angel of the Lord for the interpretation of Waraqah?
Yeah,
Waraqah's,
yeah. So
is
there's no
it?
problem with Waraqah saying that the same nasus that came to Moses is the same one that came to you, O Muhammad. There's no issue with that. And again, we have no issue with angels acting as agents on behalf of God. For example, we say Allah is going to take your soul. Sahih?
No.
Yeah, but we know that it's not Allah directly who takes your soul. He sends Malik al-Maut to take your soul. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so Malik al-Maut is acting as an agent on behalf of God. So
Even
from a Christian perspective, you can say that's the same thing as like the angel of the Lord, or like the intermediary between God and man. And there's no issue with that. How does that in any way like cause you doubts or is problematic from our perspective?
no, it's not.
There's no.
It's not doubt. It's just that the chapter in Exodus 3, it is not very like it doesn't sound very Islamic, I believe, because when Allah Subhanahu wa
Yeah,
Taala
but
describes doing an
we don't.
action.
Yeah, but Akhi, why are you taking the Bible as a standard over the Quran? The Quran is a standard over the Bible.
No, I'm not.
If Exodus 3 doesn't sound like Islamic, then that means something's wrong with Exodus 3, not something's wrong with the Quran.
Yes, exactly. But I was just because there are multiple passages like this, maybe because of corruption and translation, probably, and biases that was used to translate it. But no problem. I just thought maybe I should hear your opinion on the angel of blood concept for Holocaust interpretation specifically. Okay. But what would you say for someone who said Abraham alayhi salam didn't build the Kaaba?
Yeah, so this is just like another really like dumb argument from someone who isn't educated on history. We don't even have evidence that Abraham existed or Moses existed, like from a secular perspective. So why would I care that there's no evidence that he built something when I don't even have evidence that he existed as a historical figure?
No, he existed.
Do you understand?
Okay.
So this is
Okay,
like a very low
Is that
tier like interrogation.
Jazakallah khair. Barakallah
وإياك
fik.
أخي. وإياك. Right, I'm going to continue watching the video. Is there anyone in the chat who had questions? Let me just scroll through the chat and check if anyone had questions. I can join to ask questions around things. Yeah, you can join and ask questions about whatever you want. Akhi, there's no issue. You just join the link, Ya Umar. Yeah, I already know, but I'm not trying to make the stream longer than it has to be, akhi. Someone named Umar Lifi. Yeah, I saw his thing, but I think he just doesn't know how to get on stream. So anyway, I'll just continue watching.
Fine.
Well, you had a question,
So,
didn't you?
yeah, I asked a question. He gave an
Yeah, well,
answer,
let him finish
and I
answering.
wanted to clarify what I
He didn't
understood.
finish answering.
Dean, settle down, dude. Just settle down.
Leafy
Right,
and I
so-
are one, bro. So like, if you ask him a
Okay,
question, we're on the
then-
same position.
Okay.
So what I want to illustrate from this is that Matthew 23, and I kind of try to get this across in my videos, doesn't have any reference to defending your point, which is
It
why I
does
find it very
actually.
disingenuous that you bring it up.
No, it's not disingenuous. I'll tell
And
you
keep in
why.
mind,
It helps out.
I would actually have the same view if you brought up any other point of the biblical text.
Yeah, so I'll explain to you.
unless it had something to do with defending the Islamic dilemma.
It does. I'm
Then
gonna
I do
explain to
not
you.
want to hear it because
Yeah,
all
well-
you're doing is you're doing a two.
So this guy just loves to hear like the sound of his own voice. He doesn't actually want to listen. He's saying, "Oh, Matthew 22 would only be relevant if it's relevant to the Islamic dilemma. Otherwise, like, why are you bringing it up?" And then I'm like, "It is directly related. Can I explain how it's directly related?" And he just keeps yapping, like, "Bro, put the fries in the bag, though, bro. I'm gonna explain to you. I'm gonna answer your question." And then he says, "Oh, you're just doing a 2K." And I'm like, "Bro, now you're accusing me of doing a 2K, but you haven't even let me explain to you why it's relevant to Matthew 23, even though I have before, like briefly, and that should be enough for someone with genuine intelligence. But clearly, this guy's not. So I want to just hammer the point home, but he's not letting me. He thinks because I said my first answer was because you're a hypocrite. He thinks that means that there's like no relevance to the argument. Like it just doesn't follow, bro.
quo of, well, you're a
Wait, you're not
hypocrite.
doing a two-coke.
So
Wait,
You just said
go
expose
ahead.
somebody as a hypocrite.
Yeah.
That's exactly what a two-coke
Yeah.
is.
No, that's not what a two-coke is. So a two-coke, let me just explain for you guys because clearly you don't understand the words that you're using, what they actually
Okay,
mean.
Leafy,
Right? So
don't jump on my show.
He's a
No,
right
I'm not being condescending.
Listen, I know what you guys are about. You're about your little clip farm.
You're not about me. I'm not here to clip on you, bro.
As you guys can imagine,
Bro, he had to cut it out. That's actually insane, bro. He cut out he cut out my rebuttal, bro. That's crazy. Oh my god, that's okay. Nah, we're going back, bro. You think I'm gonna leave it out? Nah, bro, we're not leaving that out. 1 second. Sorry, bro. That's not happening, man. This guy thinks this guy thinks I'm gonna cut it out. Wait, before he comes. Wait, let me go back to the Chris wait, testify video actually. Yeah, sorry, bro.
So, yeah,
Name
no problem. So
calling
before you,
and all this other
yeah,
stuff.
no problem. I'm not
This is
gonna.
Supposed to respond
Yeah.
once you ask.
But
Sure, I'll be very
across in my videos, doesn't have any reference to defending your point, which is why
It
I
does,
find it very
actually.
disingenuous that you bring it up. If you brought up any with defending two-coke,
somebody is a hypocrite.
Yeah.
That's exactly what a two-coke
So he says, "Oh, that's exactly what a two-coke is."
is.
No, that's not what a two-coke is. So a two-coke, let me just explain for you guys because clearly you don't understand the words that you're using, what they actually
Okay,
mean. Right? So
Leafy, don't jump on my show and start being condescending. Dude.
the
No, I'm
rhetoric
not being
is
condescending.
ridiculous.
I'm just
Listen, I know what you guys are
condescending.
about. You're about your little clip farm. and
You're
all
not
that other
about me.
stuff, and
I'm not here
so-
to clip farm you, bro. If I wanted to do that, I just clip any part of your video. It clip farms itself. I don't need to clip farm you, bro. I'm just here to educate.
Bro, it's even funnier because of the fact that he decided to clip it out. He just couldn't, like, bro, that's actually insane. Zestify. Oh my god. Why did he decide to cut it out, bro? Come on. What's going on? So first you ran away from Matthew 23, and now you're running away from my rhetoric, bro. Does it haunt you? Bro, Chris looks finished. He looks like he's done. He doesn't know what's going on, bro. I feel bad. He looks defeated, doesn't he? He's trying to say I'm doing a two-coke. And then when I explain to him, look, you don't even know what you're saying. Like a two-coke means I'm dodging the point and I'm trying to, you know, jump and say you have the same issue. But that's not what I'm doing. I'm trying to explain to you that he's the solution and also you're a hypocrite. Those were two separate things. That's not a two-coke. But this Jahil is like, no, stop being condescending. So then I cook him and he cuts it out. That's actually insane. Oh, Chris, it's not looking good, bruv.
Eric, if you're gonna come up,
Can I
and
answer the
you're gonna-
question? Can I answer the question?
If you're gonna stay, you're gonna be respectful. Okay, we can't.
Yeah, sure, bro. We've seen your videos. We've seen what kind of respect you're yapping about, bro.
Gonna be
respectful
respectful,
conversation, but
Sure, I'll be very respectful.
Why are you guys
I'll
so
be very
nervous
respectful.
and being so like, oh, we gotta say all this stuff. We gotta change the subject to Matthew 23.
No, I'm
I was
not
asking
changing
you
the
a
subject.
question. I was asking you a question.
We'll
way
get back to
before.
it.
Yeah, I mean, that's just embarrassing, bro. Come on. I wonder what else he clips out of his video. That's actually funny. He probably clipped out a lot more stuff if he did that there.
He's the one.
And then we're like, I got.
Wait, sorry. That's the wrong one. Not the testify one. I want the other one, Chris's one.
Both the Bush and Leafy interrupt. They argue with Eric, the guy whose channel this is, whose live stream this is. They argue with someone who comes late.
Yeah, because you're all idiots. That's why we're arguing with you. We're literally here to argue with you. Okay, so let's listen to his input because we've already watched the debate. We just want to see like what he says. Okay, so what's your great insight?
The Injil is only these specific things that he says it is, even though the Quran is obviously copying from Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, as basically pretty much every.
He says the Injil is basically copying from Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, as every scholar says, and then he
Scholars,
cites
including Islamic scholars, acknowledge at this point.
Islamic scholars acknowledge that the Quran is copying from Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. This is news to me. Which Islamic scholars is he talking about? Even secular scholars don't say this. Even secular scholars, Nicholas Sinai doesn't say this. He says the opposite. He says that the Quran, like that we have, doesn't say that. Anyway, let me just double check. 1 second, bro. That's actually insane. 1 second. Let me see if I can find the quote from Sinai. One second, boys. Just give me a minute while I look up the quote that I'm looking for. I believe it was this one. Yeah, it's fine. I'll just get it from the thing, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. 1 second. Um, just a second while I get it, boys. Bear with me. Yeah, here. All right, got it. All right, so let's go here. 1 second. So this is Nicholas Sinai. Let me zoom in for you guys. This is Nicholas Sinai, Historical Critical Introduction to the Quran. And if we go to page, I believe, not 35, somewhere here. Here, chapter 6 on intertextuality. So let's read together, because he's saying, because remember what his claim is. His claim is, let's go back. Hold up. Before I play this, let's go back and just rewind what his claim is so that everyone's on the same page. All right. So let's go back here.
He's giving a passionate defense as to why the Injil is only these specific things that he says it is, even though the Quran is obviously copying from Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, as basically pretty much every scholar, including Islamic scholars, acknowledge at this point. Even translators of the Quran, like Yusuf Ali, have pointed this out in their own Quran.
Okay, so even the translators, even the Muslim scholars, even the non-Muslim scholars all acknowledge that the Quran is copying, plagiarizing, stealing from Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. That's his claim. Everyone understood it? All right, now let's read what Sinai says, because he says every scholar, basically every scholar. Okay, all right, let's read together. Quranic proclamation addressed blah blah blah. A considerable amount of Judeo-Christian law, including notion of eschatological resurrection and judgment. Very briefly, also considers blah, 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 which indicates that blah, 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 proclamation of blah, blah, blah. The consequence of these observations that attempted letting away is Quran understood by blah blah blah. The present chapter include Okay, the transmission of the biblical knowledge into the Quranic milieu. Given the Quran's high saturation with biblical and biblically based traditions, should we imagine Muhammad and his audience to have first-hand access to written copies of the Bible and other Jewish and Christian literature? So he's saying, would we expect, because you know when Mark was being copied by Matthew and Luke, they had access to Mark, right? That's how they copied it. Word for word, letter for letter, bar for bar. Now he's asking the question: should we expect that the Quranic author, that let's say it's Muhammad according to the secular narrative, peace be upon him, or the scribes or whatever, did they have access to the Jewish and Christian literature? This seems unlikely. Well, what? But Chris just said that you all believe that. What? True, the Quran explicitly refers to the Torah, the Gospel, and the Psalms as distinct literary entities, as well as mentioning more enigmatically the ancient scriptures of Abraham and Moses. There are also 2 Medinian verses, blah, 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 which he gives a quotation from the Psalms. The verse both claims, blah, blah, blah. This is illustrated by figure 15, okay? Blah, blah, blah. Interestingly, we have the same formula here. Okay. But he doesn't come... More likely, much of the biblical law reflected in an oral form. Okay, so he's not saying that they copied verbatim. He's saying that most likely these stories reached in an oral form. Wait, but that's not what you said. You're saying that these issues is that what Muhammad copied from. So who's right? Is it Nicholas Sinai or is it Chris? Did the Quran have first-hand access to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John? Chat? I don't know. Ishi ajib. Ishi ajib. All right, let's get Jesus' friend. Hello, Jesus' friend. Hello. You're on stream, bro. You want to unmute?
Yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro. What's up?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good, bro. You have a question? You have a argument against Islam, or you have a question you want answered?
Okay. I would like for us to talk about Muhammad and the Bible.
Sure, no problem. But is that all you want to talk about? You don't want to talk about the Christian dilemma?
Mm, not really. I have no clue about that.
Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'll let you talk about Muhammad in the Bible, and I'll answer your question on that, and then you're going to answer one of my questions. Is that okay?
Sure, I can try to answer your question.
Okay, no problem. So go ahead. What's your question about Muhammad in the Bible?
I guess we'll start with Genesis. No, Deuteronomy chapter 18. 18.
What about it?
Yeah, do you believe that was like a
Do I believe it's
prophecy?
a prophecy of the prophet? Yes, I believe it's a prophecy of the prophet. Just like I believe Isaiah 42 is a prophecy of the prophet. Just like I believe Habakkuk 3 is a prophecy of the prophet. Just like I believe Psalm 72 is a prophecy of the prophet.
Okay, sure. So what makes you think is a prophecy? It's a prophecy of the prophet.
Yeah, so if you read Deuteronomy 18:18, I can pull it up for you right now if you want. God says to Moses, I'll raise them up a prophet from your brethren, and I will put my words in his mouth. Who is that prophet like Moses?
Okay, please raise it up so we can read along.
No problem. So do you want to read from here, from verse 14?
Sure. I don't know. Let me see if I can see your screen very clear.
Do you want me to zoom in a bit more? Is that better? Can you see my screen?
Let me see. It's somehow small.
Okay, well, I'll just if I zoom in anymore, is that better or worse? Like if I zoom in, because it's worse for me. This is like the best I can do.
Okay, I'm
But
zooming from here. I can zoom from here. Okay, it's
no
okay.
problem. Yeah. So the nations you will dispossess listen to those who practice sorcery or divination. But as for you, the Lord your God has not permitted you to do so. The Lord your God will raise up for you a prophet like me from among you, from your fellow Israelites. You must listen to him, for this is what you asked of the Lord your God at Horeb on the day of assembly, when you said, Let us not hear the voice of the Lord our God, nor see this great fire anymore, or we will die. The Lord said to me, What they say is good. I will raise up for them a prophet like you from among their fellow Israelites, their brethren. And this is NIV. And I will put my words in his mouth. He will tell them everything I command him. I myself will call to account anyone who does not listen to my words, that the prophet speaks in my name. But a prophet who presumes to speak in anything I have not commanded, or a prophet who speaks in the name of other gods, is to be put to death. You may say to yourselves, how can we know when a message has not been spoken by the Lord? He says, if what a prophet proclaims in the name of the Lord does not take place or come true, that is the message your Lord has not spoken. That prophet has spoken presumptuously, so do not be alarmed. So he even gives us a criteria. How should we know who this prophet is? He says, if the prophet proclaims in the name of the Lord and these proclamations do not come true, then that is the message your Lord has not spoken. right? So according to the other verse in Deuteronomy as well, he says that by the fruits you shall know them. So by the fruits of the prophet, you will know if he's a true prophet or not. Now, do you accept this criteria? This is the new international version, but I can like put like the King James version as well, and it's a bit more more reasonable because the translation is brethren, which is more correct than Israelites.
Okay.
So,
So you
so do you accept? So do you accept that the criteria that the Bible is saying that the prophet will
sure? Yes.
prophesize in the Lord's name, and whatever he prophesizes to be true will come to pass? Do you accept that?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, sure. So if I show you prophecies of the Prophet Muhammad coming to pass, then you'll accept him as a true prophet?
I don't think that's the point. That's the point is if he
No,
is the
that's the
one
point.
that was spoken about in Deuteronomy chapter 18.
Yeah, I'm telling you he is, and the proof that he is because he fulfills the criteria that is mentioned, which is that he makes prophecies that come to pass.
Okay. But you believe if he fails one of them, it won't be the prophet.
Yeah,
talking
if the
about.
if the prophet makes a false prophecy like Jesus does in your Bible, then he's not a true prophet according to that standard.
No, I'm not like we are not talking about him being a true prophet or not. We are
No,
talking
we
about
are.
he
We are.
being
We
the
are.
one that was
No.
prophesied here. On
No. The two questions are linked together because the same passage that talks about the prophet coming describes that for this prophet to be the prophet here, for him to be the correct one, he has to have prophecies that come to pass. This is a criteria. So now I'm telling you, would you accept if I show you prophecies of the Prophet Muhammad coming to pass? If I show you 10 prophecies right now off the top of my head that all come to pass, that are novel, testable, predictable, right? Or unpredictable, sorry. Would you then accept the Prophet Muhammad as a true prophet of God?
Okay, yeah, I'm saying like that's not the point. Okay, how about the prophet coming from among the Israelites? Is that not another criteria? So
Yeah,
what
no.
I'm saying, what if he
Okay.
fails one of them? What if he fails one of them?
One second, bro. So no, it's not a criteria because the translation that is correct is among their brethren, not among the Israelites. Among their brethren. And Ishmael, the Ishmaelites, are the brothers to the Israelites. So the correct translation is among their brethren. This doesn't exclude a prophet from the Ishmaelites. And in fact, we have Jews in Medina who are waiting who are waiting for a prophet to come from Paran, from Arabia, because they knew the prophet was going to come from there. And they thought the same thing that you thought, which is that their brethren means the Israelites. But they were shocked to find that the prophet is an Ishmaelite. So they chose not to follow him because of that, because of their racism. So the word brethren here is inclusive of the Ishmaelites as well. So that doesn't disqualify the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Now, the question I want to ask you is why are you running away from the criteria? Because if I show you prophecies of the Prophet Muhammad coming true, then you should accept him as a true prophet.
Okay, so yeah, but you believe? Let's just say there are 5 criteria. Let's just say he fits 4 of them and fail one. Will you say he's still the one they are talking about here?
No, he has to fulfill all of them. He can't just if he fails one, he's not a true prophet.
So yeah, that's what I'm like saying. You cannot just choose one. Like, okay, any prophet that says something and was fulfilled, then
Yeah,
here
but
he
I'm
was the
saying
one
he
talking
feels.
about.
Yeah, but I'm saying he fulfills all of them. Which one doesn't he fulfill?
Yeah, I'm talking about him being from the Israelites, like
Yeah,
from
and
the
I
Jews.
told you that's not a criteria because I explained to you that the correct translation is brethren.
Okay, how do you know that?
Because it's right there in front of you. See the word brethren? Among their brethren.
Okay, can that mean they're fellow Israelite?
It can mean that they're fellow Israelites, and it also can mean that they're fellow Ishmaelites. It can also mean they're from other tribes that are descendant from who? From Abraham.
Okay.
So any of the children of Abraham can fit this prophecy as long as they fulfill the other criteria. So now that I've explained to you that this doesn't disqualify the prophet, what other criteria do you think it disqualifies
So
him?
like we're still on this. So what if Moses was actually talking about like among your fellow Israelite, like among yourself?
He doesn't say that. He says from among their brethren. Again,
Okay.
so I don't understand why you're stuck on this point because it
Wait.
says among their brethren. It doesn't say among the Israelites. I just explained it to you,
Okay.
bro.
Can you please read verse? I think 14 again. I think you start with 14 or 15.
15, yeah. The Lord thy God will raise up a prophet up thee from the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like unto me. Unto him ye shall hearken.
Okay.
Again,
So what do you
the correct
understand by
translation is
from your midst?
yeah, from the midst of thee means from among you.
Okay.
It doesn't mean literally among you. It means from your lineage.
So how do you get that from? Why would you say it does not mean from
Because
like
he's
among
because
you?
the
He was
next
talking to the
because
Israelites and
because yeah
okay,
because
so
the next
go on.
word he says of thy brethren. So he emphasizes from the midst of thee, he connects it with brethren, which is lineage. And he says, unto me
Okay.
ye shall hearken. So each time he says from among me or from among you, he's talking about the lineage. He's emphasizing the lineage, brethren.
Okay. So you're saying because it mentioned brethren, which means it exclude the Israelites.
No, it doesn't exclude the Israelites. It includes the Israelites and it includes the Ishmaelites and it includes all the people who trace their lineage back to Abraham.
No, you don't understand. Like let's just say because I hear this, like if I'm talking to you, then yeah, if I'm talking to you something about your brother, then it exclude you because the prophecy is about your brother. No?
No, bro. If I say Jesus' friend from among your nation, I'll raise up a prophet. Right? The word for nation there is brethren. That's what it means. It means from your lineage, from your tribe, from your people who all descend back to Abraham. So any one of those tribes, any one of those peoples, right? They're
Okay.
included in this prophecy.
Okay. So now brethren is not working. You mean from your nation, like the word that should be there is from your
No,
nation,
brethren,
abi?
brother, I'm giving you. Do you want to go to the Septuagint?
No.
No, why don't you want to go to the Septuagint? Your church fathers quote from it.
I don't understand. But I'm trying to understand firstly what you're saying. Is it that you because if you say from their brethren, are you trying to say the prophecy should not be fulfilled in Israel
No, I'm
as
saying
a
that this.
community?
No, I'm not saying, brother. There's a difference between a negative claim and a positive claim. I'm not saying that anything has to happen. I'm saying that this doesn't exclude the prophet.
Okay. So is the prophet part of Israel?
No, it's got nothing to do with Israel.
That is exactly what I'm asking. Are you saying it has nothing to do with Israel or not?
Bro, I'm saying that this word brethren can refer to Israel and cannot refer to Israel. It could be both. And how we're going to know which one it is through the next criteria.
Okay. So what if you see, wait, you said it can refer to Israel and then it cannot refer to Israel? Do you believe that
Brother,
it is either Moses is talking about the Israelites or not?
no, I don't believe it's an Israelite because I don't believe an Israelite fulfills the rest of the criteria.
Okay.
Which Israelite? Okay, let me ask you a question. Which Israelite is a prophet like Moses, who the Lord gave a new law, like he said, who put his words in his mouth, who like Moses spoke to the Lord face to face, and who prophesied in his name, and all those proclamations took place?
Okay. So yeah, I will say it's Jesus, but that's not the point. We are talking about like Muhammad, like excluding Muhammad from the prophecy. Like we're not talking about who
Okay.
fulfill it, but who like Muhammad does not
Okay.
fulfill, like should
Okay.
not be the
Okay.
one
Just wait. Just wait. Just wait.
talking
Just wait.
about here.
Okay. Okay. So you said it's Jesus, right?
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, that's not the point.
No,
Like
no, no.
it
It
is
is
not
the
the
point.
point.
No, it is the point. It is
We're
the
not talking
point
about
because
who
until
fulfill it. We're
just
talking
wait,
about Muhammad in the Bible.
just wait, bro. No, but you're not gonna think it's Muhammad if you think it's Jesus, right? So 1 second. Pull up Mark 13:30, and after this, I'm gonna end the stream because I need to go to sleep. Okay.
You said the word Mark what?
13:30.
13?
Here, I got it up for you. So if you could read that for me.
No, I'm off your screen now, but I can read it
Okay.
here. Mark 13:30.
Yeah, read it.
Okay. It says like I feel like you're going out of the point because we are
No,
talking
no,
about
no,
Muhammad in the
brother,
Bible. But
brother,
let's
just
continue.
brother.
Sure,
I indulge you,
sure, I
right?
will
Can you
read.
indulge
Sure,
me?
sure. Yeah, no
Okay.
problem. It says, Verily I say unto you, that this generation will not pass until all these things will be done.
Okay. So here, Jesus is saying that the end times will happen by the time, and the people of this generation will not be past. So that means the people of this generation will still be alive before the end time comes.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yeah, I know the verse you're talking about. So yeah, are you saying
Okay.
this is a failed prophecy?
Yeah, it's a failed prophecy because even your own scholars accept that it's a failed prophecy. So I'll read you from C.S. Lewis. So you can read here. This is from C.S. Lewis's works. You want to read?
No, I can't. I'm off your screen now. I'm like on my Bible app. Let me see if I
Okay.
can
Well,
go there.
can you zoom in and read just from the highlighted section here?
Okay. Who do you say this is?
This is C.S. Lewis, who's a Christian scholar. He's one of the most prolific Christian scholars of the 20th century.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I start from there.
Mm-hmm.
Verily I say unto you, this generation will not pass until all these things be fulfilled. We have to ask, what is so embarrassing about this verse? Well, if you read the antagonist argument, the embarrassment is based on the idea that Jesus taught his disciples that he will return within their lifetimes. At least that is what they think he said. Okay. So that being the case, the entire early church was deluded by their master to look for his physical return while the apostles were still living, while the apostles were still living. However, obviously, that did not happen.
And then it says that Mr. Lewis admits this to be the most embarrassing verse in the Bible, based on that premise, because he accepts
Okay.
that this didn't happen.
Okay. So based on what I just read, according to what I understand, Mr. Lewis is saying that at least that is what they thought. That is what they thought, and they were waiting for it to happen. But yeah, they got it wrong.
Okay,
It
so
was
that's a
not
false
supposed to
prophecy of
happen. At
Jesus,
least
which
no, it was
disqualifies
not
him
to happen.
from.
It was not supposed to happen. Not at that time. Not at the time they thought it
He
would
says
happen.
this generation.
Okay. So what can this generation mean?
It means the people here alive now.
Is that what this generation means? Like the
Yeah,
people
that's
alive?
exactly what it means. Yeah, exactly, and that's how Paul understood it too. In First Thessalonians, he said that the day of judgment will come like a thief in the night, and he's questioning because some of the generation has died. He says that they will be raised back again because the master's promise is true.
Okay.
So
So
it's
yeah,
very clearly a false prophecy.
sorry, hold. Let me say this, but a car is passing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, what are the prophecies Jesus gave that didn't come through?
I just told you Mark 13:30 and Matthew 24.
Okay. I recall him saying that yeah, you will hear rumors of war, but don't be frightened because the end will not come immediately.
Yeah, but he's saying that this generation will not pass. Is he lying when he says that?
Okay. The generation will not pass. Wait, do you say those prophecy like was about the second coming of him?
Yeah, he says that this generation will not happen till all these things take place. That the Son of Man
No,
comes
that's not
comes
the
on the
point.
kingdom of
Like
God.
that's not what I'm asking. What I'm asking is the noise here is a lot. I'm sorry. What I'm asking is, will you say that he was talking about the second coming, that this generation will not pass? I will come back.
Yeah,
You will see
exactly.
me coming back.
Yep.
Okay. Where does he say that?
In the verse I just read to you.
No, he said this generation will not pass until all this happen. What are the things that should happen before the generation pass?
Yeah,
He
so he
said
explains it if you
one of
read
the
the
things.
verses before.
Yeah, he said one of the things include his coming back. So I'm like, what verse talks about that?
Yeah, sure. I'll show you it right now. We'll read the whole chapter together. No
Okay,
issue.
sure.
No problem, brother. All right. So here's Mark 13 from the beginning.
Sure.
You can read it. Go ahead.
Here is very noisy.
That's fine. What's the heading? You can just read the heading.
Okay, it says the destruction of the temple and signs of the end time.
Signs of the what?
Signs of the end time.
Okay, so he gives the signs of the end times, and then after he gives the signs of the end times, he says, "Truly I tell you, this generation will not pass away till all these things have happened."
So,
So if he says that, and he just described all the signs that the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, the stars will fall from the sky, people will be shaken, Son of Man is going to come in the clouds with great power and glory. He's describing the signs of the end times, and then he says that this won't happen before the generation passes.
Okay. So how about First Thessalonians? What did Paul say about it?
Yeah, sure. I can get you for First Thessalonians. No issue. Yeah, so no problem. Just 1 second. Here's First Thessalonians 4:15 to 17. Do you want to read it? You still here? Hello? Did he go away? I think his connection just went away. Anyway.
Yo, assalamu alaikum.
Yeah. Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Anyway, I'll read it for the sake of the chat. For we tell you by the word of the Lord that we who are alive, who are left until the coming of the Lord, will in no way proceed from those who have fallen asleep. For the Lord himself will descend from heaven with a shout. Right? We who are alive, who are left, will be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet their Lord in the air. So we will be with the Lord forever. Right? And he says in 1 Thessalonians chapter 1, he says, "For they themselves report concerning us what kind of reception we had from you, and how you turned to gods from idols to serve a living and true God, and to wait for his Son from heaven, whom he promised, whom he was raised from the dead, Jesus who delivers us." Blah 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 blah. He then says, "May the Lord and you increase your bound." Blah blah blah. In holiness, the coming of the Lord with all his saints. Know yourself, and then he says, "For you yourselves know well that the day of the Lord comes like a thief in the night." So he's saying that it's going to come soon, like a thief in the night. He gives the analogy of a thief in the night. He says again in Galatians, "Who gave himself for our sins and might deliver us out of his present evil age." So he thinks this age will end soon. "For we will reap in due season." Again, he's emphasizing it's very close. In Corinthians, he says, "We'll waiting for the revelation of our Lord Jesus Christ, who will also comfort you until the end. Therefore, judge nothing before that time until the Lord comes. But I say," this one is like so damning. "But I say this, brothers, the time is short, that from now on, both those who have wives may be as though they had none, and those who weep as though they didn't weep, and those who possess, those who rejoice though they didn't rejoice, those who buy those they didn't possess, and those who use the world not using it to the fullest. For the mode of this world passes away. We will not sleep, but we will be changed in a moment, the twinkling eye, the last trumpet. For the trumpet will sound, and the dead will be raised incorruptible, and we will be changed." Again, he specifically contrasts the dead with we at the last trumpet. We will not sleep, right? He says we cannot imagine. It's like so clear. I think that's enough, but like I can like there's so many more. It's very clear Paul's an apocalypticist. So Jesus' friend, were you watching?
Am I up now? Sorry,
Yeah, you're up.
I left the app and yeah, I was disconnected.
That's no problem. So you didn't see anything I just showed?
No, I was down, like I was trying to connect the whole time to connect that.
Yeah, that's fine. So let's go back up. So Paul says, "We who are alive, who are left until the coming of the Lord, will in no way precede those who have fallen asleep. For the Lord Himself will descend from the heaven with a shout." Right? We who are alive, who are left, will be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. So we will both be with the Lord forever. So very clearly, he's saying the people who are dead, they will be raised back alive, so they can come back with the Lord. Why? Because Jesus said, "This generation will not pass till all these things take place."
Okay.
So very clearly,
Can you hear me?
he's talking about the apocalypse happening in his time, and he's saying that we who are left, it's very small until the coming of the Lord, and the Lord will descend with a shout.
Okay.
And then
So you're saying,
he's just wait. Let me give you the other ones as well. He says that day, the day of judgment, the Lord comes like a thief in the night. It's going to come so quickly, like you're not even going to be prepared. He's stressing how quickly it's going to happen. He says we will reap in due season. He says we're waiting for the revelation who will comfort us in the end. And then he says, "We will not sleep, for the trumpet will sound, and the dead will be raised incorruptible, and we will be changed." He says specifically contrast the dead with we at the last trumpet.
okay. So firstly, him saying it like a thief of in the night does not mean that it's gonna come quickly. It does not. It means that it will be unexpected. Like just like you
Yeah,
won't expect the thief to come.
yeah, it'll catch you by surprise. Exactly, and he's on
Yeah.
edge, waiting for it to catch him by surprise. He's not, because think about it. If he's waiting for it like a thief in the night, how's it going to catch him unexpectedly if he's dead already? If he thinks it's going to happen like in 10,000 years from now or whatever, in a long time away, then why would he be unexpected? Because he knows it's going to happen in a long time. But he doesn't know it's going to happen in a long time. He thinks it's going to happen quickly. So he's saying it's like a thief in the night. It's going to come unexpectedly sometime in my lifetime.
Yeah. So firstly, I don't believe like the Apostle Paul believed that Jesus will return when he is alive, because
Yeah.
in Timothy, he was talking like someone that is about to go. I have fought the good fight.
Timothy
And
is not
all.
authentic to Paul, my friend. Timothy is not written by Paul. Thessalonians is written by Paul.
So how do you know that Timothy is not like we are just
Because
moving
of
from topic
stylometry.
from topic?
Because of stylometry.
If we're just moving from topic to topic, but yeah, but
No,
in
it's not
Timothy,
from topic to topic. Look, I can Google it for you right now. Is Timothy an authentic Pauline letter? Many modern scholars question its authenticity, suggesting they're written by someone else in Paul's name. Again, this is one of the disputed Pauline epistles.
okay, I can also search my Bible app. It will tell you that yeah, it is written by Paul. But yeah,
Yeah, but the
regardless,
Bible,
what we know that it is written by Paul. And yeah, in Timothy, Paul was talking about him going, like he has fought a good fight, he has finished his mission, and yeah, he can't be someone that was waiting for Christ to come before he dies.
bro, Paul is very clearly an apocalypticist.
Yeah, okay. Well, apart from Paul again, now to the
You
prophecy.
can even read this book by Jamie Daves on it.
Okay, sure. So now about the prophecy, do you believe that he means like this generation, like they will come up back the time before is
That's what he
coming,
says. That's
like they
what he
will
says.
come up? No, I'm
Yeah,
listening
that's
to
what
what
he
I'm
says.
saying. Like not now, but when the time of the end will come. This like they will rise again.
Brother, he says this generation. Is this generation far in the future, or is it like in 30 years from now?
Okay. I'm actually like, do you think
Which one?
it might also mean that the generation will witness his coming,
Brother, please.
something like
Brother,
that?
please. Brother, please. If I say this generation will not pass away till Donald Trump, okay, if I say, for example, this generation, my generation, Gen Z, right? If I say this generation will not pass by like, the year 3000, is that a false prophecy?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, like
Okay.
it
So
depends on
the
the
exact same
translation you're
way,
reading, because it can also mean that, let me say this quickly. It can also mean that this generation will experience all these things. It can also mean that way.
No, it doesn't
Like
mean
this
that
generation
because
will experience
no,
all these things.
no, they won't.
Are you saying it does not? It cannot mean that way. That they will experience instead of them not passing. Like they will experience all those things.
The Christians, the Christians are not going to experience. Okay, do you think the Christians are going to be? Paul thinks this. He thinks the Christians are going to be raised up and they're going to see the Son of Man coming, descending on the clouds and stuff. But that's not what Jesus is saying. He's not saying that you guys are going to, like in the future, talking to his future disciples. The future Christians are going to say that. He's saying that you guys who are with me now, before you die, before this generation passes, you're going to see me descending with on the clouds, and you're going to see the
Yeah,
sun becoming dark and the moon falling out of the stars, and all this
yeah,
stuff.
I get that. I get exactly that. I get that. It says they will not
Okay,
pass
so that's
until
a
these
false
things
prophecy.
happen.
What more
So
do you
wait,
want from
what I'm
me?
saying, don't you think it can mean that instead of they will not pass, they will experience these things, like all these things that I've said,
No,
this
it doesn't mean
generation
that.
will experience it.
That's coping.
Can it
That's
mean?
what's
Can
called.
it mean? It, are you saying it cannot mean that? Like it can? It cannot mean that. Like they will experience it.
No, it can't mean that.
Okay.
Because English in the English language, words have meanings, yeah, and in the Hebrew, the words have
Yeah,
meanings, and in the
that's
Greek,
true.
the words have meanings, and in the Greek and in the Hebrew, it's very clear that he's not talking about something else. He's talking about this generation that's in front of him, and to pretend otherwise is to do acrobatics with the text, which is not what we want to do. So if you want to do acrobatics, that's fine, but I
So
think very clearly
what does the
that's not
Greek
what
say?
it says. Bro, I just read it to you. You can read it yourself. If you don't believe, it says exactly what the translation says. Truly, I tell you, this generation will certainly not pass away till all these things have happened. And I even
Let
gave
me
you a
try.
scholar. And I even gave you a scholar. I can give
Let
you
me try
another
to
one if you
open
want.
the Greek text.
I can give you another one. I gave you C.S. Lewis, who he's a prolific scholar. He's not going to get it wrong, right? And he says this is the most embarrassing verse in the Bible because it didn't happen. Other scholars agree with him.
Let me try to
And he's
open what
just
the Greek says.
and C.S. Lewis is respected by both Protestants and Catholics and Orthodox.
Okay.
So anyway, Jesus' friend. I'm trying to go to sleep, bro. Dean, do you want to take over or what's going on?
Yeah, let me. I just want to say like let's just talk like small about this, and yeah, you go. How about that? I don't know, but if you, I don't know.
I mean, I can show you other false prophecies as well. Like this isn't the only one. This is just one that's very clear. But I can show you other ones. Like for example, the sign of Jonah. Jesus doesn't fulfill it very clearly, according to you. And there are many others
Okay.
that Jesus doesn't fulfill.
Okay. So yeah, I think in Revelation chapter 13, verse 3,
Brother, why
Jesus
are you
talk
jumping
about.
to Revelation? I don't.
I am
Jesus
not
is friend.
jumping. Like
Oh,
we are
No,
talking
no,
about.
no.
Leafy.
Yeah.
We are talking
No,
about
stop.
this
Yeah, I
prophet.
wanted to just mention. I just wanted to mention one point. On the Deuteronomy 18:18 point. So Jesus, I got a question for you, mate. So where is brother ever used in the Bible outside of Deuteronomy 18:18 to mean fellow Israelites? So
Uh
an Israelite is called a brother, right, for another Israelite. When does that actually happen?
okay. So yeah, I was asking Dean, I think Dean, yeah, I was asking Dean like if what he's saying is that it can when they're talking about Israelites, when it says fellow brethren, it will exclude Israelites. And yeah, he was like, no, it does not exclude. So yeah, let me. There is a part I think in Exodus that yeah, Moses was
No,
remembering the Israelites. Moses was
no,
remembering.
no, no,
Wait,
no,
let me
no.
say this. Let me say this.
There's
Let me say
nothing.
this.
There's no, no. No. I want,
Let
I
me say
want,
this.
I want you to give me a cite. I know which citation it is. I just want to see if you know or not. So
Yeah, I will search for it.
which citation actually says the Israelite's brother is an Israelite? Where in the Bible does it say that?
No, like I'm not going to give you the exact citation of that. What I'm going to
That's what
give
I'm
you
asking
is
for.
wait. What I'm going to give you is where Moses speaks the same way, like your fellow Israelites. And yeah, it means the Israelites in that place. It
No,
was Moses.
there's
Wait, let me say this.
there's no other instance outside of the verse that I'm thinking of right now where brother of an
Okay,
Israelite
well let me say this and
includes
I search
another
for the
brother.
verse. Yeah,
Yeah.
let me say this and I search for the verse. So yeah,
Why would I care about what you're gonna say right now, dude? Just do you know the verse or not?
okay, let me search for it. Hold on.
Yeah, it's Deuteronomy 17. Okay, so in Deuteronomy 17, that's the only place in the whole Bible where it's used for an Israelite to refer to another Israelite who was a brother of them. But in between that very verse, you have anachronisms. Okay, you have two anachronisms. Deuteronomy 17 mentions, "Do not let the king have multiple wives, lest his heart be astray, becomes astray." That's clearly a response to Solomon. Solomon hasn't been born yet. And then David, that came before Solomon, God was telling him, "I'll give you multiple wives, more wives than you want, David. I would have given you it." Why is God saying that to David if Deuteronomy 17 already said that the king of Israel can't have many wives, lest his heart go astray? So it's clearly an anachronism. On top of that, there's another anachronism saying that you shouldn't elect a king over Israel, right? Um, it says this in Samuel, in 1 Samuel, I believe. In 1 Samuel, it says God doesn't want you to elect a king, right? But Deuteronomy 17, it tells you what to do when you want to elect a king. So these are two anachronisms you find in Deuteronomy 17. So we have reasons. So this is surrounding the verse, the only verse in the Bible where brother of an Israelite actually refers to another Israelite. So Deuteronomy 17 is full of anachronisms. It's highly spurious. So why would we use it to inform our understanding of Deuteronomy 18?
Okay, sure. Let me search for let me search for a verse. The verse. So the one I was talking about is not the one I just forget it. Well, let me search for it. It's
There's
not the
no
one
other
you
verse
mentioned.
besides Deuteronomy 17.
Okay. Mm.
Every other case where brother is used, it means other than a certain type. So you have the Levites, one tribe of Israel. The brothers of the Levites will be anyone besides the Levites. It's used in the Bible. There's the brothers of Israel, the Edomites. They're brothers of Israel. That's used in the Bible as well. Things like in Deuteronomy 2 or Deuteronomy 3. The Edomites are called the brothers of the Israelites. And then you have early Jewish commentators. They say, yeah, the Ishmaelites are the brothers of the Israelites. So Deuteronomy 17 is the outlier here. Every time brother is used in the Bible, besides Deuteronomy 17 that's full of anachronisms, every time it's used, it means other than a type. Okay? So if I say to you, from your brothers, right? From, let's say you live in let's say you live in a region like for example Leafy, right? Leafy's from Palestine. I'm from Lebanon, right? So
I'm a Jew, bro. What are you talking about?
in this usage, in this usage of the language of people that live in Asham, that's the region, right? If I was to go up to Leafy and I say, yeah, Leafy, from the Palestinians brothers, from the Palestinians brothers, there's gonna come out someone that's gonna be whatever, right? The Palestinians brothers aren't Palestinians. They're gonna be brothers of a certain category, which is gonna be like people from Asham, right?
Jordan, Syria,
Yeah,
anyone from the
exactly.
Levant.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, dude, like you're just getting cooked. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, Jesus' friend, look, brother, it's kind of late and we have other guests as well that we want to get to. But look, what I would ask you to do, bro, just read the quote from C.S. Lewis. Go research the actual Greek. You can read it in Greek if you want. You can learn the Greek and read it yourself, and you can see that it's a false prophecy yourself. Like, we're not making it up. Your own scholars are telling you it's a false prophecy.
Yep.
And if it is a false prophecy, then that disqualifies Jesus from Deuteronomy 18:18, like you said. And then
Okay.
if Deuteronomy 18:18 is not talking about Jesus, then it's talking about someone else. And Muhammad's the one who fits that criteria better than anyone else. So anyway, akhi, you can say your final statement and then we can move on to someone else.
Okay, yeah, sure. So about the place where the Israelites are also called brothers, like among your brothers, talking to the Israelites among your brothers. Yeah, I'll look for that verse, and yeah, I'll come back maybe tomorrow. Will you be
I
online
I
tomorrow?
I just told you it's Deuteronomy 17.
No, that's not the one. I read
There's
it.
no
Oh
other
yeah,
one, bro. You're like you're gonna be searching for a while, bro, because there's no other
yeah,
one.
sure. But yeah,
Yeah,
I'll come
thank.
back
No, no
tomorrow.
problem.
No
Yeah,
problem.
you can come back. There's no issue. Thank you for your time. Take care. Assalamu alaikum, akhi.
Alaikum salam. Have you
Yeah,
heard
I
those
didn't real.
points before in Deuteronomy 17?
Yeah, I've heard those points before, but I didn't realize that Chris was ducking my rhetoric.
Oh, you didn't notice?
Yeah, I thought it was just once, but he did it like so many times. I have family in Al-Nasra and I have family in Al-Quds. Who do you want to bring up?
Does John 14 and 16 refer to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? 16:7 exclude the Holy Spirit. I don't know what you mean by that. I mean, yeah, like the Pericles sayings is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's what we believe, right? I believe that all of the sayings in John 14, 15, and 16 can be reconciled. And the fact that the Holy Spirit is a power, that's how the early church envisioned him. That makes it very improbable that John envisioned some power to be the Paraclete.
No, do you want to have anyone else up?
The guests. Okay. But if you don't mind, get through them because I do have to go. I just came because someone was telling me you were talking about Deuteronomy 18. I wanted to add some stuff.
Yeah, no issue. All right, Sharif, assalamu alaikum. Just a quick question before we end the live. You here, bro? All right, no problem. Wrecking Paul, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Do you have a quick question, Akhid, before we end the live?
Actually, it's not a question. Can I just respond to Chris, if that's possible?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. So Chris is saying that the Quran is copying from the Bible. If so, then why does it change what it's copying? And I will make the Christians wish that the Quran is the right one, not the Bible. And this will be taking into consideration Mark 10:25, when it's talking about the camel go through the eye of a needle.
Sorry.
I believe all are aware of that. It happens 3 times in the Bible. Mark 19:24, Matthew 19:24, Mark 10:25, and Luke 18:25. The problem is for the Christians, it's the rich. It's easier for a camel to go through, for someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of heaven. This is like a Christian dilemma. Like, guys, you cannot be rich. You need to be poor all the time. Otherwise, you cannot go through this. And Quran is solving this problem for them. And Quran is saying, إن الذين كذبوا بآياتنا واستكبروا عنها لا تفتح لهم أبواب السماء ولا يدخلون الجنة حتى يلج الجمل في سم الخياط. Which is, this is the needle, Jamal, the needle.
Yeah, I understand. I understand.
Now we solve the problem for them. You can be rich, but don't be arrogant. Don't reject the truth in front of you. Because now I believe they wish that the Quran is the true one. It will solve the problem for them. So if the Quran is copying, how can this copier change something to a better conclusion?
Barakallah fik. That's another good
Well,
point of
yeah,
conscious editing. Assalamu alaikum.
yeah.
Assalamu alaikum.
So hello, so I'm going to ask something about Matthew 24:34. So
Okay, just left the stage. Yeah, guest.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Do you have a good question?
Yes, I have a question about a revisionist theory, which talks about how like two communities, like over what live, like Meccans and Medinans, like living based on agriculture in the Quran. Revisionists
Yeah,
say that
yeah,
because like
yeah. That's fine. I already know this argument. So they're trying to say that like the description in the Quran doesn't match Mecca and Medina, therefore it's like somewhere else, right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's nonsense, bro. They don't know how to read Arabic. They mistranslate the sources. This has already been refuted, akhi.
Oh, so
Yeah,
what does it
but-
actually say then?
Yeah, so they try and say that the greenery described doesn't match the greenery of Arabia, but that's not true. Like the shrubs described in the hadith are literally like word for word exactly the same as in Mecca. This is refuted by Sargent in his refutation of Crone. So you should check that out if you're interested. And there's also videos of it on YouTube if you want to see.
Jazakallah khairan.
Well, yeah, akhi. Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, Ax, sorry, you broke up.
so yeah,
Just a quick
someone
question, bro,
couldn't
please.
wait. So some people say Matthew 24:34 is metaphorical, and Jesus saying here that this generation will not die, as in go to hell or something like that.
Yeah,
What
that's
do you
cope,
think about
bro.
this?
That's cope. The
Are
Greek
there
is very
things
clearly this
that
generation.
all right, so are there like arguments that go against this? Because I mean, it looking from here, like
Brother,
the
I can say,
generation.
okay, I can just say whenever they say Jesus before Abraham was I am, I'll just say that's rhetoric. Like, this is not an argument, bro. You can't just say whenever something you don't like or oh, it's rhetoric. What's it rhetoric for? What does he mean? This generation will not pass. How's that rhetoric? What's the rhetoric? So this is a very
Rhetoric?
weak argument, bro. Yeah, and I showed you scholars, your own scholars, C.S. Lewis, accepting that this is a false prophecy. So do you think he's stupid enough to not realize that it's rhetoric, or do you think he's just being honest and accepting that it's a false prophecy?
I mean, scholars can make mistakes. That's true,
No, it's,
but
Habibi, you're more likely to make a mistake than C.S. Lewis. I trust C.S. Lewis more than I trust you.
all right then. All right,
Yeah.
so this is
Assalamu
not
alaikum. Abdullah. Assalamu alaikum, akhi. Just a quick question. Never mind. Alright, guys, I'm just going to end the live here. Barakallah feekum. Does anyone in the chat have any questions, or did I miss anything before I end? Do you guys have any questions? Just quickly before I finish. Assalamu alaikum, alaikum salam. On my last thread, yeah, bro. I don't have any patience for these guys. It's rhetoric. Like, what kind of, bro? What kind of? No, bro. It's not about like I need sleep or no. I'm talking quietly because my family's sleeping. But it's not about me being tired. It's just about like, what do you mean, bro? It's rhetoric. Like, this is a like terrible argument, man. Jazakumullah khair. Leafy hive. Assalamu alaikum. Anyway, guys, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Check out my videos, inshallah. Like, comment if you have any questions. Add my Discord. Barakallah feekum, and make sure to also come to the Patreon, subscribe, join Dean's server, inshallah. And if you guys have questions, make sure to ask Dean on the server, and we'll also get to you there. So thank you guys for your love and support. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.